Hey everybody, it's Judy Clock here, your independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator coming to you from Middletown, Virginia. I'm gonna see if I can make myself a little bit bigger first. Hey, there we are. So today it's July 17th, and I am featuring again tonight that beautiful Perfectly Pairs bundle. I am absolutely in love with this online exclusive, and I am featuring this in my April roll that back in my August workshops. So tonight I've got 3 fun cards for you. We're going to start off with a really simple, basic card. Let me shrink myself down again so you can see. There we go, I'm in the corner. So we're going to start out with just a basic stamps, inks, and paper. This is perfect for any beginning stamper. Let me see if I can, there we go, get my cameras right. So this is just stamps, inks, and paper. Then we're going to step it up. We're going to add some techniques. We're going to add a little die cutting. We're going to add some torn edges to give it a little bit more interest. And these two feature block stamping, where we're actually going to color on our clear blocks with our Stampin' Blends, spritz it with rubbing alcohol, isopropyl alcohol, and then stamp that to give us that color block background. And then we're going to step it up, and we're going to do the same technique. We're going to do that color block background, but then we're going to die cut it. We're going to stamp, and then we're going to die cut it. And we're going to add some dry embossing, some more die cuts, and just kind of step this card up just a little bit. So we're going to go from take a technique from basic to intermediate to avid. So as you can see, we're going to use the same technique across all 3 of these cards. So I'm just going to show the technique once because it takes a while for it to dry. So I had to go ahead and really do the pieces for the cards ahead of time. So I'm just going to show you once how to color on the block, spritz it with alcohol, and stamp it. But that is the same technique that I used for all of these cards. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to start with a piece of our basic white. I've got here a clear block. This is one of the paper pumpkin blocks. And I've got some of my Stampin' Blends. I've got a light mossy meadow and a dark old olive and a dark lemon lime twist. So it doesn't really, I'm going to go sparingly with the mossy meadow because that kind of gave us some of the darker undertones. As you can see here, this pair is a little bit darker than this one. This had a little bit more of the mossy meadow. So I'm going to use this one very sparingly. But I'm going to come on here. This is our dark old olive, and I'm going to use the brush tip. Make sure I got the right tip out. And you got to work kind of fast. I'm just going to color, just scribble on my block. There's my old olive. Let's go here with our lemon lime twist. And I'm coloring over it, and that's okay. I'm just going to go really quick. I'm going to add just a little tiny hint of our mossy meadow. Okay, not a lot. Now I'm going to take I've got a spritzer here, and it's got rubbing alcohol in it, and I am just going to really saturate up my block. Get that really well saturated with your rubbing alcohol. Let me pull in I'm just going to kind of tilt it around a little bit because I don't want to have those lines in there. And then I'm just going to take it and I'm going to stamp it right down on my card front. Okay, so now as you can see, you've got that lovely block of color there, and you can just, once it dries, we could just stamp right on that and leave it, or we could stamp on it and then die cut it as I did for our 3rd card. So that is the technique. You just color on your block with your Stampin' Blends, spritz it with the rubbing alcohol, and then stamp it onto whatever cardstock you want to use. In this case, I'm using our basic white. So that is the technique. So then let me just clean up just a bit. Get that out of there. Get that. I'm going to leave that there because that's a little bit wet. Okay. So then for our first card, I did that on a piece, just like I did in the demonstration. I did it on a piece of basic white. This is 5 1/4 by 4, and all of these measurements will be in my blog post that will be up tomorrow. And this is, I'm using Secret C. This is like my new favorite color. It's a blue black, and I really like it instead of using Memento. I just think it just adds, I don't know, just a little something. It's not quite blue. It's not quite black. So I'm just going to stamp a pear. I'm going to stamp a leaf. And I'm going to stamp a simple sentiment. A good friend is a gift. Okay. And that's it. That is as simple as this beginner card is. It's just that block of color, some simple stamping, and this type of technique works really well with we call line image arts because it's just a bunch of lines. There's not a lot of detail to it. So it's perfect for this type of technique. All right, let's go ahead and put our card together. Again, very simple. As you know, when I have a colored cardstock, I like to put that piece of basic white on the inside just to give it a little pop of color. I thought I had that still wet, so I'm going to keep that there. And then I'm going to add this to the front. Now, if you want, you can certainly go ahead and add some gems if that's what you want to do. If you want to zhuzh it up in some way, that is your call. I am keeping this really simple. I am just going back to stamps, inks, and paper. So we've got really nothing else on here. So again, great card for a beginner, very simple, very basic, nothing more than stamps, ink, and paper. All right, for our second card, we did that same technique. I stamped it. I used our long block. I don't know where I put it, but it's one of our longer blocks. Here it is. Let me just pull it. So I did it on this block. Again, I colored with it on the block with my blends. I spritzed it with the alcohol, and then I just stamped it down. So again, I'm just going to come in with our pear stamp. Nothing too fancy, nothing too crazy. Okay, and as you can see, I've kind of torn my edges. I pre-tore my edges. I'm just going to stamp that. Again, I'm going to stamp a leaf. But I went ahead and we're going to add a little bit of a die cut to this. So in the set, there's this beautiful die. It makes this beautiful leaf image, and you'll notice I have put an adhesive sheet on the back of this piece. And the reason being because it's got this really fine stem, and that's going to be really, really hard to glue down. Ask me how I know. I made a mess with my sample. So, because sometimes I always forget. But before I put it on, I want to put this down like this. I want to look because I may end up cutting that leaf off. See, now that leaf kind of comes on our stamped image. So I want to cut that leaf off. It's not going to mess anything up. I'm just going to snip it off right there. And then I'm going to come back with my pick tool. And I'm just going to pull off the cover. And this will be so easy to adhere then. There we go. Just pull off that cover. Come on. Pull it off, pull it off. Maybe not, maybe not. There we go. All right, and then I'm just going to lay this down. So it looks like there's a little knob there, or this can hang from. I'm just going to go ahead and stick that down right there. All right, and then let's put our card together. So we've got our old olive. It's 8.5. No, this is 11 by 4 1/4. I did this the long way. Every once in a while, I like to change it up. But this is such a great technique. We don't always think that we can use our blocks for anything other than stamps, but we really can. So it's always fun to try to think of new ways to use our tools. Now this, because it is a little bit wrinkly almost, I'm going to use some liquid glue on it to adhere it to my card front. Okay, and this one is almost out, so bear with me. I try to squeeze out every last drop of my liquid glue in here. And you'll notice that the blends, they do come through to the other side. That is because they are alcohol based, so they will bleed through. So if you want to do this on just like white, it will bleed through. And I can show you, I I very stupidly did it on a white cardstock, forgetting it was going to bleed through. And when I opened it, I'm like, oh, right, blends bleed through. All right, and then we're going to stamp a simple thank you on here. And again, I'm using, outside of my Stampin' Blend markers, which I've used 3 colors, I'm really just using the Secret C for all of my stamping, just because I love it so. So a little thank you. And my cardinal rule is stamp then stick, so I should have stamped my thank you first, but luckily for me, I didn't screw it up too badly, so we're good. And then we're going to come and add some of these beautiful, these are our low profile, sparkle dots. We're just going to add some of these on to give this just a little bit of bling. I would say anywhere from 3 to 5, depending upon how many you like. I like to do an odd number. Just that's my thing. And that is the second card. And again, all of these measurements will be on my corresponding blog post. Now for our last card, we did a lot of different things. So I started with a card base of thick, basic white. It's 8.5 by 5.5. I've scored it at 4.25. I have a piece of Secret C that is 4 by 5.25. And I have here a piece of the Darling Duckling that is 4 by 3, and I embossed this with the Damask Designs embossing folder. And I've got a piece of the pairs, perfectly pairs paper, painted pairs paper, the Designer Series paper. And then I had stamped my paper, right? Like I did, I had done my block color. I stamped 2 pairs and I die cut them. And then I stamped and die cut 2 sets of leaves, and I did put the adhesive on the back of these. And then I stamped and die cut a little congratulations. So before we adhere anything, let's go ahead. I want to go ahead and put my 2 pieces on my card front like that so they overlap. So I've got my 2 layers. They are kind of askew on the card front. Again, and that just kind of creates some visual interest. All right, we got that. I'm just going to go ahead and use our liquid glue since I have it out. All right, here. Nope, I want to put it up a little more. Oh my goodness, I'm not even paying attention to what I'm doing. Okay, we got that. I'm gonna flip that over so I don't get the glue on there. All right, now I want to add some ribbon to this. So we have that gorgeous mossy meadow and gold ribbon. I probably want about, 4.5 inches. So there we go. Using my paper to measure. And I'm going to flip this over and I'm going to add some Stampin' Seal to the back because I want to adhere this ribbon here. And I'm going to, before I fold it around, oh, I cut it a little too short. I thought I cut it wide enough. Nope, we'll use that for the knot because we're going to tie a knot. But I still need the ribbon. I don't know where, I literally just had it, folks. Where in heaven's name did I just put it? Don't you hate that when you just have something and then the little craft room gremlins come by and they move it? Well, I'll be darned, folks. I literally just had it and I literally just cut it and it has rolled away somewhere. Where could my ribbon have gone to? That is one of the greatest mysteries of the hour. Well, we're going to try to make this piece work, even though it's a teensy bit short. We're going to make it work. I'm just going to add some more seal right up to the edge, and we will fold that over. All right, we're going to make that piece work. It was a little teeny bit short, but we are doing our darndest to make this work because I'll be darned. I don't know where that bolt of ribbon just went to. Literally, just add it. Literally. All right, I'm going to add some more seal because that is the weirdest thing. Now I'm ready to add this to my card front. When I find the ribbon, I'm going to take another piece and tie a little knot around here. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add my pears to my card front. And again, I'm just going to glue them down. I'm just doing them haphazardly at this point. I don't really know where I want to stick them, like there. Then I've got our leaves. And again, I have put the adhesive strip on here. And even though this is a fairly big piece, I just felt like the adhesive strips would work really well. And just keep everything all together. So get this one down. All right, now we've got a little congratulations. I stamped it in our secret C, and I die cut it with one of the label dies in the Perfectly Pairs set. And now I'm going to add some dimensionals. And this is where your mini dimensionals really come in handy. Somebody asked me the other day, well, when do you use mini dimensionals? And you got a little piece like this. These are perfectly sized for this little sentiment strip. I'm still trying to find that ribbon. This is going to drive me crazy now. I don't know where it could have been, where it could have gone to. Let's see, it's on my desk somewhere. All right, and then we're going to go ahead and add some gems. I'm going to use the Secret C gems down here. Come on, this one doesn't want to go. And one more. Let's see, I got this one on my finger. Let's see if we can get that onto the paper, off my finger and onto the paper. And that, minus my little knot, is our third card. So I hope that you'll give color blocking a try. It's a great technique. It can really add to what you're doing. You can use it, like I said, very simply with just that block of color, a very simple stamp and a sentiment, and you've got a lovely card. You can step it up a bit and add some die cuts, kind of rip the edges to give it that distressed look. And then you can really just use it to color your main items and die cut them and add, embossing and ribbons and gems and all that good stuff. So that is it for me this evening. I hope that you enjoyed this, and I hope that you will give color blocking a try. I'll see you next week. Bye.